my name is Jamie and I'm the owner of Creations Misfit, and today I'm going to do a beginner video tutorial to get you started if you are just basically starting out with crochet, and I'm going to teach you how to do a slip knot and how to chain. These are the first two things that you'll learn when you're starting crochet, and probably 90% of the time you're always going to start with a slip knot. For your projects, there is a magic circle if you're doing something in the round, like a hat or a circle rug or blanket. And I do have a tutorial for that already. I'll link it in the description below, but that's a little bit more advanced. So if you're starting out, you're going to want to learn how to do a slip knot, and then after the slip knot, the first thing that you'll learn is to chain, and that's always your foundation row. So let's go ahead and get our yarn. I'm going to go slow since this is beginner, and the slip knot can seem kind of daunting at first when you're first starting out, especially because you're getting used to learning how to hold your yarn and how to hold your hook and things like that. But don't fret, as soon as you get it, it will just be second nature and you'll never even think about it again. But I'll go ahead and start slow so that we can get you set up. So the first thing you'll do for the majority of your projects is the slip knot, and I'm going to show you one way to do it. There are several ways. Everybody has their favorite. This is my favorite. It seems very easy for me, and it was the one that I picked up on the best. So I'm going to use, this is a little bit bulkier yarn just so you can see it better, and I'm using a 10mm hook so that you can really see the way that I'm working, and then when we go into the chains you'll be able to see how we do the chain. Alright, so take your yarn, and you're going to have the end of it over here on the right hand side, and just cross over like this. Okay, so you're gonna make sure that the right hand side is crossed over the left. You just kind of make a little loop like this, and then you're going to take your loop. I'm right-handed, so this will work either way, but I'm obviously showing the right-handed way. And then you're going to just flip it down and take your hook. It's going to look like a pretzel in there. Take your hook and go right under this piece here and pull up. And that's it. And all you're going to do then is just pull. The reason that we don't do a knot on our hook is because it's just too tight. With a slip knot, I'll show you here, you can pull it to make it tighter or looser, and then when you pull like that, it just comes right out. I'll show you several other times. You can also set it down on the table if you'd like, if that's a little bit easier for you. You just go ahead and you make sure that your end is on the right hand side, and then flip over to make a loop. This might be a little bit easier to see it at first, but then you can just do it in your hand when you get comfortable. Take the loop. You gotta kind of hold this part so that it doesn't come apart, but take the loop and just put it over the yarn this way. And that's the piece underneath that you want to take your hook under. Just take your hook under it, and then you can pull the end, and you have a slip knot. You don't want to pull it too tight because you're going to have to put a chain in there, which is like that, but I'll show you that in a minute. Alright, so let's do it a couple more times. I'll do it once on here and then once in my hand, and then we'll move on. Go ahead and make your loop. Fold it down so it kind of looks like a pretzel. And then take your hook right under this piece here and just pull up. And then pull your yarn. You can pull either piece, it doesn't matter. It will still make the slip knot right there. And then you have the slip knot, which is the start for your project. Okay, we'll do one more time in my hand, the way that I do it. And like I said, I don't even think twice about it now. It's just, okay, here's my slip knot, let's go, let's get started, and there we are. But I'll show you slow one more time in the hand. Alright, so always make sure that you're taking the right piece and going over the left, because if you go over this way, it makes it kind of backwards, which would probably be for left-handed. Let's see if I can do it lefty. Well, you see what I'm saying, you'll go in this way. But for me, that's a little bit awkward because I'm right-handed. So if you're right-handed, you'll want to take the the one on the right hand side, and make it go over the top to create your loop. And then just bend that piece down and kind of hold it here to make it a little bit more sturdy. And then go in that middle piece and pull up. And then pull your yarn to secure it. And you've just done your slip knot. Okay, from here we're going to do chains. Your chain is your foundation row. That's what gets you started, and that's what you'll eventually do your stitches into. So the chain is very important, and you'll find in patterns, people use chains all over the place, but you always start, if you're not working in the round with a magic circle, and then you might even do some chains, but if you're doing something that starts pretty much anything, you're going to want to you have to learn how to chain. I mean, there's nothing around it, and it's very simple. When I first learned, I just chain, just keep kind of get used to it. Let me grab some more yarn here. Okay. Also, another thing about you'll get comfortable the more that you start holding your yarn and your hook. You'll find your own way to do it. Once I start doing other stitches, if you follow any of my videos that I'm going to make after this, you'll see that I kind of do this weird thing with my thumb. A lot of people don't do that, but it's just kind of what I picked up somewhere along the way, and it makes me crochet faster and better, so I keep with it. But you'll find your own way to hold your yarn. I'm going to try to explain how I hold mine, and don't worry if it feels really uncomfortable, because it's going to feel really uncomfortable at first. But once you get the hang of it and you find your tension, it's almost like if you've ever played pool, the way you hold your stick, sometimes when you first learn, it just feels out of control. Like there's no way you're going to be able to hit those balls. But it's the same with the yarn. You'll figure it out. So now you have your slip knot. I put my index finger under the yarn like this and just kind of hold it here with my other fingers. And then this does seem really crazy. I don't even think about it anymore, but I know when you first start, it just sounds really difficult, but I promise you'll get used to it. And if you just keep practicing, it will get so easy really fast. I literally learned how to crochet last year in November, really, and then I started an Etsy store in February and had it filled with things, so you can do it. All right, so put your index finger underneath the yarn and just kind of hold it with the other hand. It doesn't have to be tight. You don't want it too tight because you'll never be able to pick up your yarn. So just kind of hold it a little bit, and then I always hold this piece down here with either my thumb and middle finger or my thumb and middle and ring finger. Okay, so let's start the chain. You're going to take your hook, and your hook you kind of just, I was going to say you hold it like a pen, but not really. You just, I don't know, kind of hold your hand underneath and then your thumb on top, and you'll get a feel for it. Don't hold it too tight. If you start holding it too tight, you're going to pull your yarn really tight, and it's going to be really hard to crochet. You kind of want to do it a little bit loosely, and you can always tighten up your stitches later. All right, so let's go ahead with the chain. So for chains, most patterns will say chain 10 or chain 100 if you're doing a blanket or a scarf or something like that, or if you're doing something smaller, it will be chain 6. So we'll just do a bunch of chains. You're going to take your hook and go underneath this yarn here, and then you're just going to turn your hook and pull it through underneath. Okay, I'm just going to keep showing you. It's the same thing over and over. And so now you want to hold wherever you want to hold. You can hold down here. My fingers kind of move up as I go with the chain. Take your hook and go under and just turn it around and pull through. And see, that's my hand just goes up to the next to hold it in place. Underneath this piece that's under on your hand, turn and pull through. And like I said, here I'll show you if you do it really tight, how it's just not easy. If I'm holding this really tight and I go like this, it's going to be harder to pull through. So you want to keep it a little bit loose, and you'll see that here your chains start You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, which you'll start to learn how to count your stitches later in your chains. But for now, we'll just keep chaining. Okay, so finger underneath, hold your chain down here, a little bit loose, and then just go under, turn, and pull through. And then under, turn, and pull through. Okay, and you can, look, you can make this however tight or loose that you want. You want to try to keep your tension the same, and that's one of the most difficult things when you first start crocheting. I had some chains that were so tight and some that were so loose. It was like I would have one of these and then another one of these and then like something really tight like this, and you can see it's just not going to make your project look good. So you want to kind of try and keep your tension the same, and you will get it. Don't get discouraged. It just takes practice, but pretty soon you'll be doing really great with it. So try to keep your tension the same. We'll just keep doing a few more chains. Under, turn, and pull through. Under, turn, and pull through. And as you start doing this, you'll start feeding the yarn. So as you pull your hand through like this, it will give you more yarn to do your chain. And then you'll have to, unravel some so that you have enough. And then we'll do some more. Under, turn, and pull through. Under, turn, and pull through. And then kind of loosen up a little bit so that you can grab some more. Under, turn, pull through, and you'll just start to get a feel for this feeding through. And then once you get used to it, you'll just start chaining this way. It'll be really easy. Your chains come out looking really nice and uniform and about the same size. So it will be chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoops, and so on. So this will be your foundation for whatever you're starting, and I suggest just keep practicing that over and over. I mean, you can chain as much as you want. When I first started, I just chained and chained and chained. I mean, I had super long chains, that I would just practice over and over to get my tension right. And like I said, it doesn't take long before you start getting the feel for how you're going to hold your own yarn and your hook and things like that. And before you know it, you'll be doing stitches. And so this chain, like I said a million times already, is the foundation row. And this is where you'll start doing your stitches once we start learning stitches. So you'll be going back, like say I'm doing a scarf and I want it to be this width. Then we're going to start going back this way and doing our stitches into the chain. So that's it. I'll do a couple more just if you want to do it along with me. We'll do them slowly. Hold your chain. Like I said, as you make more, you're not going to want to hold it down here because it will be too hard and awkward. You're going to want to hold it up here as you go. And we're going to just go around, turn, and pull through. And then come up a little bit so that we can get some more yarn. Under, turn, and pull through. Under, turn, and pull through. And don't feel bad if it's really hard to pull through at first. It just might mean that you're holding it too tight, or you don't have enough yarn. Like, give yourself some more yarn here, even if you have to start your stitches like this big, just to get used to having space in here to pull through. Because sometimes if you just do it too tight, it's just really hard, and you're pulling and pulling, and it just makes crochet seem really hard, and it's not. You just have to make sure you have enough room in there. And like I said, as you go, you'll get your tension good enough, and it becomes really easy. I mean, the chain is really simple once you start going. So that's it. I hope that I helped, and stay tuned for more crochet videos. I'm going to start doing some of the stitches. Like I said, I already have a magic circle done. If you want to come back to that at some point, once you get this down pat and you start working on patterns, I'm going to do single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet, which are the main stitches to learn first when you start working on projects. So if I've helped you, I would love if you could give me a like, and if you have any comments, please leave them below. This is only my second video, so um, if there's any suggestions or anything like that, please be kind, but I'd love to hear them in the comments below. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, and thanks for watching, and have a great day.